there. So maybe you can chat just for a couple seconds on what question might you want to answer. And when I ask children, they come up with the most interesting things. So Chris was talking about, where are they? Sure. Where is this picture from? Sure. Where would I go to see them in their own environment? Ooh, great question. How many animals do you see? Hey, there's a math question there. Since they all have, ooh, interesting. We're talking about the stripes now. Well, I do have a question for you. And in a moment, when Brett flips to the next slide, thank you. So I'm going to pose a question. Every ring-tailed lemur has 13 stripes. They have the exact same amount of stripes. Interesting to me. And they call them rings. And those rings are on their tails. And I want us to know, or us to try to find out how many, oops.
Sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
That's okay. How many rings are on all the tails of all the lemurs in this picture? So I'm going to say that again. Every ring-tailed lemur has 13 stripes called rings on their tails. How many rings are on all the tails of the lemurs in the picture? Now it says solve this in 2 different ways.
13 times 4.
As adults, I know the first way you're going to go. I know where you're going to go. But we want to challenge you and have you solve it in 2 different ways with your group. And Brett, do you want to share what they're going to have access to as they move to their breakout groups to share their thinking?
Yeah, so I'm hopeful with the breakout rooms because for some reason it was overwhelmed before and it wouldn't let me open them, but we're going to try again and hope for the best that it's going to work. I'll post it again. A lot of people are chatting in here. There's going to be a Google Slides document. If you click on that link to open that up, every breakout room will have a slide. And when you guys go in your breakout rooms, I want you to start with the conversation. Some of you have thoughts going right now, may have solved it immediately in your head, but put your mind in the mind of a 3rd grader, right? How would they solve it? Or even if you solved it right away, is there another way you can solve it? And
Sure.
Someone asked earlier about a number talk, and this is the idea, right? It's like, how do we solve this? And there's different ways to get the right answer. And this is what the power of having students collaborate around a platform like this is. So click on that Google slide. By your breakout room number, you can go to a slide on that slides document, and you can just type in your thinking. You can take a picture if you're recording your thoughts on paper and pencil. You can just drop that picture in that Google slide. So and this is a nice UDL strategy too. Some of you are using other things or looking to explore some more tech tools. Give students an option. You guys are going to go into breakouts. Maybe they're going to do it asynchronously and figure it out. And then when they come back and share it, you can say, how did you guys solve it? And go ahead and unmute yourself and share that with the group. So that's kind of what we're modeling today.
And have some patience with the breakout rooms. We're going to do our best with these breakout rooms. Most of the issues with last session and this session are the breakout rooms. So if you're not in a breakout room and you see other participants, hey, share with them your thinking. So
I'm going to stop sharing for a second and see if that helps, if I can navigate that way. So.
Okay.
You guys can jot down some of your initial thoughts as you start to solve this, and we'll open the breakout rooms and keep your fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And David, we agree that you do need more time in the breakout rooms. I agree with that completely. So we're going to make sure that you have enough time. Thank you for that. So remember the 2 ways, show 2 ways.
Are we a numbered breakout room?
How do we find the groups?
Yeah, it's still not letting me open them, guys. I'm
Oh,
trying.
really?
I'm going to try maybe manually. I don't know. What's
Should I just
happening?
do it through chat then?
Possibly, but just know in your classroom, it's only happening. This is only happening because of our large numbers. When you get to your class, when you have kids 30, you're not going to have these issues with the breakout rooms, whether you're using Meet, Teams, or Zoom. We have a large number. No luck, Brett? We'll adapt if there's not.
Yeah.
We'll adapt. As Brett's doing that, we're working on the independent fake time. I like to give the children a minute or 45 seconds to really think on their own before they get to a group, because you know that produces equity. The children come to the group with enough work maybe to really begin sharing with the others. I
did that one. Are we just putting it in the chat?
As of now, right now, we're putting it in the chat because we can't, we're having issues with the breakout rooms and the back channel.
Hey, Matt or Brett, I just have a general question about breakout rooms. Last session we did these on, you're not able to see the question that was asked that we were supposed to discuss.
Right.
Can we do that? Is that something that can be done as a teacher to design this for them? Because I know I teach 8th graders, and I know the first thing that's gonna happen when they go into a breakout room is like, what were we supposed to talk about?
Sure.
There is an option with Zoom to broadcast a message to all, and then that will show up. But having that back channel is nice too. If they have that document open, you can have the prompts on there for them, right? That way they don't get lost. The other option too is you can hop in, and you know, you're not gonna have 300, you're gonna have 30, 35 at the most. You can go from room to room and kind of check in with them and make sure they're staying focused. But that's a great question.
And there's no way to like take a slide and just throw it up there so that they can see that slide and have it in front of them.
Andrew, what tool are you going to use? There, if you're using Meet or if you're using Teams, you can do that. With Zoom, you'd have to put a link to the actual thing.
Yeah, what we do is in Teams.
Oh, Teams, you can actually do that. You can actually put the actual document in the chat.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Brett, where is this back channel that you keep talking about?
I'll put it in the chat window again for you, Jennifer.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
That was our plan where the work will be done. If you see that right there where it says Doc School, if you click on that, then you will, thanks Natalie. Natalie put it up for us.
Okay.
That's actually, that'll be the area where we can do our work. You can actually draw and maybe draw a picture if that's the strategy you want to use.
And Matt, it looks like some people are utilizing Google Slides, which is great.
Okay.
And I'm going to put that link in there as well. So you guys can pick a slide, and instead of just showing your thinking in the chat, you can pick your own slide and show it there too. And we can highlight a couple of those as well.
So since we're having issues with breakout rooms, our initial goal was to have us work independent think time, ITT, independent think time for about 45 seconds, bring you to groups for about 8 minutes. Obviously the breakout rooms aren't working, so we're talking about our intentions, what they were. And so now it looks like we're gonna have to fabricate the fact that we're pretending we're working, you know, with each other, because now we can't even utilize any breakout rooms right now.
I was able to manually sign a few people, so we may have a couple rooms going, looks like, Matt.
Okay. And I'm sharing with you that I'm actually, as the facilitator, I'm looking at the back channel to see the work that you're doing. I'm looking in the chat. So I have a lot of access to looking at your work.
Are we turning this work in?
It's automatically turned in. I'm seeing what you're doing right now as we speak.
Oh, just add a new slide.
Are we answering there is a 5 tree animals, all those questions there? Is that what we're doing?
I'll share my screen again so you can see the prompt.
Each one has 13. Yes. And how many rings would be on all of the lemurs pictured? All of the lemurs pictured. Many ways to do this.
Hey, Matt, there's a question that asks if it identifies the student that does the work.
Yes. So as I'm watching, I'm watching, Brett, that's a good question. Is there a way where, because right now I'm seeing the work, but I'm not seeing the names. Is there a way to, where we can actually see the student doing the work? Right now I just see the group. So I see the group number. I see group 2 doing the work. I see group 3 doing work as we speak.
Yeah, by their cursor, how they're logged in. If
Got
they
it.
have a Google account, you can track it by their cursor. It tells you who's entering what.
Group 5, I like your circle strategy. I like your hard work on that one. Oh, group 3, thank you for, I like how you put that in words. And right now,
How do we see which group we're in? I can see the slides from groups, but I don't know which group I'm in.
And
Yeah,
that is our,
go ahead,
because of the
Matt.
breakouts. Yeah, because of the breakout rooms, that was going to be our group. So since we have that issue today, we're going to have to kind of just fabricate that. And yeah, we're sorry about the breakout room issue. Thanks, group 9. I like their use of colors, and I like the way you organize it. Group 10. And so I just want to tell everyone right now, I'm looking at how I want to share. What do I want to share? I'm just talking out loud right now. I see some things I want to share whole group. Breakout 4.
And also, can you guys address the Teams, how you would use Teams and see their work?
Sure, I'll speak to that one. I'm relatively new to Teams, but it's my understanding that there are channels, and we've been utilizing that for our department meetings. So I know that's like Tracy Unified is starting to use that a lot more, Manteca Unified. So you can have channels, and channels are the equivalent, my understanding, to the breakout rooms. Within Teams, you have all your notebooks, your OneNote. So it is a really nice seamless way because everything is right there. You don't have to navigate back and forth from Windows. For districts that are using Google Classroom, I taught a class this last spring, and that was really nice too, in conjunction with Zoom. We just have the Google Classroom open. You've got your classroom stream where instead of like the chat window, they can post to either place. They'll have their documents open, and when they turn work in, and so again, the message, and I know that a lot of us, it takes me back not that long ago, about 8 years ago when I was getting ready for that first day, is just focus on one thing right now, one tech tool, right? And say, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to become masterful, because otherwise it can be overwhelming. So the idea for this today is just to focus on the pedagogy, the teacher moves. How are we navigating back and forth, and how are we giving some strategies of making an activity engaging?
And we're going to take a couple minutes. What I'm doing, I just want to tell you as the facilitator, and what you might do in your classroom is I'm looking at the different strategies, and I'm thinking in my mind, how should I share this to the whole group to really connect that mathematics? What order should I share them in? And that's what I'm doing right now, looking. And if we were in the breakout groups, I would go in different breakout rooms to do this. But I really appreciate your adaptability today with this.
So Matt, we should have a few people coming back. I had 2 breakouts just manually assigned, so they'll be coming back here. I gave them a minute countdown, so we should have everyone back so we can get them all on the same page.
Sure. And then Brett, what would be great, Brett, is I'd like to, if there's a way you can share the breakout,
The slides, yeah.
the slide, because I have something I think would be in order to share these in. Thank you. 10, 9. All right. Thanks. So Brett, could you go to 10, please? Group 10. Thanks. All right, everybody, as you're coming back, thank you so much for giving us that grace with the breakout room issue. We've never experienced this many people, this issue before, so thank you for that. Appreciate it. I have I want to talk about this group. Could somebody in group 4 or someone that did this speak to us regarding this breakout room, please, regarding what your work was? I would like someone to share their thinking, the person that created this.
Hi, I worked on this slide.
Thank you. Share your thinking.
I'm trying to get back to Zoom now, so usually I can just get back to it, but it's
look at the bottom. Look at your tray. On
oh, there we go. I got it.
Yeah, thank you.
I couldn't see the little extend button.
All right. So what did you do here?
So I just thought of it as, oh, it's not all showing up. There's something missing from it, but that's okay. I just thought of it as groups and then adding on from each group. Repeated addition, essentially. But it's like a visual model of repeated addition, which is something I've seen my students do before. I'm a 4th grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started building by using the different tools that they have. So I use the box tool, then the little circles, the text box tool, and the arrows. They're just really cool ways to do it quick.
Thank you so much. I want to share something interesting here. You're going to hear in session number 3 and 4, module 3 and 4, about something we called lost learning. Yeah, that's perfect, Brett, right there. Something called lost learning. Now, it's interesting because the strategy that we just shared, if we're in a 3rd grade class, think about this task, because this task actually can address 1st and 2nd grade standards as well as 3rd grade standards. So we don't have to we can use the tasks and how they can really create that equity to create that to get that learning back. Could you go to slide number 9 now? I want to make a connection to what they were doing with another slide and how that might be the same and how that might be different.
Hang on. You want group 9 or slide 9, Matt?
Group, yeah, breakout, or I believe, no, slide 9, I think. It was the one with, since we looked at the dots, now I want to move more to a more abstract approach.
This one here?
We're not sharing your screen yet.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that would have helped if you're probably wondering why I was. Sure. So we talked about that last strategy. Thank you for sharing. Who's responsible for this strategy? Who created this or produced this? Could you share your thinking, please?
I did the purple.
Oh, thanks. Can you, Dana and Kara, hi. Can you share, what does the purple mean? That top row,
the top row is the repeated addition that was pictured like in the other sample.
Sure.
We see a lot of our kids, even though we teach 6th grade, they go back to 13 plus 13, and they keep adding on until they get the correct number and get to the 65.
So what I'm hearing, and I like how, that was Kara, right? You're speaking, Kara?
I'm Dana.
Oh,
this
Dana.
is Kara.
Dana's name is over your face and Kara's name is over your face.
Oh, wow.
So Dana,
Okay.
So Dana, I like how you made the connection to the last piece. So you said each 13 in this picture represents the square with all the dots in it. So you just made a connection to a more abstract approach than the last approach. And do you know, I wonder why your 8th graders revert to a more concrete approach? You know, any thoughts on that?
They don't really have their multiplication facts. They have them on their fingers and on paper, but not enough practice for rote memory, because they always fall back on this.
Dana, I wish we had another 2 hours, because there's so much I want to say about that. But we are developing more content specific modules in the future. So thank you for that. I'd like to move, thank you so much. I'd like to move to a more abstract approach. And Brett, there was where they had the actual equation on there. I believe it was 4, slide 4, I could be wrong. Wait, go back to that one, yeah, okay.
This one?
No, yes, please. Interesting, who's responsible for this?
I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about this, Kim?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured that I teach 3rd grade, and I figured that some of my kids are just going to look at it as I'll just add my 13s up until I get there. But, you know, later on, when they start thinking about it in groups, we know that 10s and 5s are easier when you start breaking it apart, right? You know, whether you're thinking of it like distributive property or just simply, okay, I can take a 10 from each of those, and I know how to do 10 times 5 in my head. So I'm going to make that a piece of it. And then the second part of it is, well, if you've got 13, there's your 3, your 10 and your 3. And then to be able to do a lot of that where they're just thinking about it and not even having to write it out the same way. And then just, you know, obviously bringing it down from there, they're just big whole numbers that it doesn't seem quite as scary as adding 13 one at a time.
Sure. Thank you. I like how you broke that group of 10 in there. Thank you for your explanation. Appreciate that. Is there any group that wants to share that or anyone that wants to share that? Patty, you know what, Patty, this is a number talking away. And because we're using our reasoning, we're collaborating, we're thinking, we're getting feedback. I appreciate that. Is there a group? I always want to ask at the end if there's a group that wants to share. I shared 3, but I'm wondering if there's a group that there's someone that wants to share. I want to leave that time for anyone that wants to share that didn't share. Anyone?
I just wanted to add that
Julia,
I was at an Avid training last week, and they put these slideshows together as a gallery walk, and then you could add comments later.
I love gallery walks. And gallery walks are a really neat idea for ways that kids to collaborate and see other kids' reasoning and critique others. It's great. And that's just putting posters up and having kids rotate every couple of minutes. I love that.
Hey, Matt, real quick, this is Brett again. I want to welcome Stephanie, and there's been a couple others too that weren't able to get in, and now they're in. Just to kind of loop everyone in, you are in the model lesson, and we're doing a math talk basically right now. We introduced the lesson. I can go back and show you the slide of some Madagascar ring-tailed lemurs. There was 5 of them in the trees. Each lemur has 13 tails. So different groups use Google Slides in the chat window to make their thinking visible. So we're kind of debriefing and having people explain their thinking on that engage activity of the lemurs.
And Stephanie, to answer, because your district, we have an open sign up, so we're just letting it was our intent to let anyone sign up. So if your district signed you up, we don't have we have a limit. So we're not working with your districts in the signups actually. So and also they're going to be recorded as well. They're going to be recorded as well.
Recorded and offered 5 more times, and we're talking about offering them more too. We want to make sure everyone gets access to this that needs to. So again,
so we do apologize for that.
Frustration.
Yeah. Yep. We can move off of this screen. That was called my share and discuss piece, and my goal was to bring the math out to us all from the groups. And I really appreciate the gallery walks or the music walks. Those are other great ways to do this. A gallery walk virtually, when you figure that out, you let me know. Okay, next, there's another slide that
It's just to add, you can do it through Google Classroom.
There you go. We need to come together and this creativity, that's the way to do this. That's the way, really working with each other and really sharing that creativity. Next slide. Now, what do you do next? So we worked independently, we worked in groups, and we brought the math out in the share and discuss. But what do we do next? What might be the next thing to do? I want to ask you a question, but I want to share what I was thinking. So what we did was synchronous. Asynchronously, which means offline, I'm thinking of, what if I give the kids a task and have them just write in their journals at home? What are some other ways that we can extend this activity and give them a particular task or some problems to do? How can we do let's call extension? My idea was to get a problem-solving activity that kind of relates to what we just did and just let the kids solve this and take those skills and solve it, maybe on paper. Any other ideas that you might use? I hear a quick write. Thank you, Ellen. A quick write is a great idea to kind of reflect on what we've done. Someone can unmic if they would like to unmic. I'm going to go out on a limb and say just unmic and talk, even though we have 300 people. Brett will get mad at me later if it doesn't work out.
Real quick, Matt, could you or could someone put the link in the chat window again for the back page or whatever that thing was called?
Sure.
Lisa Ann, and I wanted to introduce real quick Lisa Ann. She's our back channel person. She was able to get in. So Lisa, can you do that for us real quick, please?
It's there.
It's there.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sometimes it gets buried.
Hey guys, it took me 30 minutes to get in.
Yeah.
So,
sure, David.
Believe me, I totally understand the frustration. My husband's a teacher. He hasn't even been able to log in, and he's supposed to be doing these today. So,
we're
trying to get everything going. Just keep putting your questions in there, and we'll keep trying to address them as best and as quickly as we can.
Thanks, Lisa.
Well,
I unmuted because I've been teaching university classes online for a while. And when I let the students go to work on their own, I have them turn off their video. And when they finish, they turn it back on so I can pay attention to when they're ready and not give them too much time on their own because I know when everybody's ready to share.
Great idea, Kimberly. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I like Kimberly's idea. I see Patty's from Stockton. She was saying they can write their own problem and present it. Thank you. From Rachel, from Tracy, exit tickets. Like that. Ellen, have them take a picture and send it to you. Absolutely. And you can do that with Google Classroom. Teams and Meet allow you to do that right on their tool. Dina and from Tracy was saying, have them find their own pictures and ask a question. I love your responses. This just goes to show that we really need to collaborate in this time. I know it's hard. We're all from different districts, but collaboration is key here with sharing ideas. We're paving new grounds here. Math journal, Tanya. That's exactly what I was thinking. Flipgrid, Amy. Ooh, Synergy. Ellen just brought up a new tool. Draw a picture. Sure, Kim. Julie was saying a forum in Google Classroom so that kids can actually, that didn't attend, can be part of it later on. Great. I did one of those with a Facebook group once, a closed Facebook group. Have the students, including me, draw this out. Sure, Laura. You're coming up with a lot of asynchronous activities, math journals, surveys, forums. You have way better ideas than me. That's why I left this up to you. If you can't get the backdrop, Sherry, look down in your tray and you might see a Zoom icon. And if you click that, it'll go up there. Flipgrid, thank you. The picture and Flipgrid slides. Wow. If you look at the chats, and we're going to save the chats too. If you look at those chats, there's so many great ideas for extending this activity and really creating that full lesson. Thank you so much for all that. I really appreciate that. Next slide, Brett.
Sorry, I was answering the chat window about Flipgrid.
Sure.
If devices don't have cameras, there's a cell phone app and they can use either their phone or if their parents have a phone and they can record it that way and then flip it back and send it to you.
I have to say I'm really appreciate and I'm impressed with all your comments and feedback and your reflections today. And I appreciate you using the mute button. Wow, I told you that we were going to come back and look at this again. So we talked about the pedagogical moves in our classroom, and let's just, Brett and Lisa, should we just assume that the breakout rooms are a no-go?
Well, this is actually on the back channel or again in the chat.
Okay.
Pick one of these that really speaks to you,
okay,
that you want to answer,
okay,
and then answer it. In the back channel, there's a box, right, Lisa? And chime in here. There's a box for each one of these, right? What were the pedagogical teacher moves throughout this activity? What were you doing as a learner? Maybe you want to speak to that one. What were the shifts from traditional direct instruction method? And then going forward, what are the implications for you as you develop lessons activities? What sort of things are you going to change or try differently as you move to this brave new world we're navigating?
Thanks, Brett. I just wanted to add that I want you to think about this math lesson that we did. Well, it's math science and you'll see, but whatever curricular area that you are, think about the pedagogical moves that might have supported your deep thinking or might support your students' deep thinking. Just think about that, and don't just think about how that might thread through your curricular area as well.
I had some questions about Flipgrid too. I'll post my email notes at the end of this. Feel free to email me. I've got tutorials. We've got a recorded session that was devoted to Flipgrid that you can watch and learn how to do that. But just the 2-minute, not even 2 minute, the 30-second elevator speech on that is it's a platform for students they click on a link. It will allow them to use the camera to record their thinking, and then they submit and it goes right to you as just a little video. So it's a nice way, and they can redo it over and over. So for my teenagers at home, it kind of reminds me of like the Snapchat or TikTok where they're recording videos as a way to assess and for them to flip it back to you so you can see what they're thinking.
So think about, as you're right now, our goal, our assignment or our goal was to think about the pedagogical moves that really supported deep learning within this lesson format that we were exploring today. What might be shifts from traditional classrooms?
When you're writing on the back channel and other people are writing in your space, how do you know where you're writing? Or do you just write on top of them? I don't understand this. I don't know how to understand how the back channel module works.
Yeah. Brett, can you answer that? I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing the slides for a second and we'll go to that back channel. You can see, I know as you're writing, it might kind of shift, but what you're writing is what you're writing, and you just continue to do that. And then it grows and it evolves as other people collaborate around it. So,
but people all collaborate and it doesn't say who said what.
A workaround, you could put your name by what you're saying too, right? Okay. If you want to say,
Carol,
these are my thoughts.
Our goal was for this to be, you were going to be in your groups. So it would have been group 1, group 2. So right now without groups, I can see how it's very like Wild West out here in the writing of this.
And if you're on Teams, you'd actually.
But use the chat window, absolutely. I'm looking at the chat window as well.
So Matt, are you able to see my screen now?
I'm using I'm using the I'm on Google Docs on my own, yes.
Okay.
So Brett, yeah. I clicked on that link to get to the back channel, but it's not letting me type on it.
Really?
It's like it says it's too busy or something.
Really? Yeah.
We're overwhelming all the technology at this point.
Feel free to use chat. And that's something that we're going to talk about as we revise our modules. You're the guinea pigs. So we're going to kind of revise this. And so please use chat if you need to.
Yeah, so I see that Carol put her thoughts from TUSD and she's adding it in here below. Here's the reflection area. What were some of the pedagogical moves? And people are adding their thoughts down below here. So keep those responses coming in.
Thank you for sharing all this. We're looking at both venues. We're looking at the chat and we're looking at the back channel. And we'll talk about some of these because we believe that this is the important part of our module. What were the moves? What did you see as important moves and pedagogical practice? And feel free to look at the other responses in the back channel or chat if you're done. Somebody said the students were doing the heavy lifting rather than the teacher. Huge message right there. Huge takeaway. Explaining my own thinking, listening to others thinking. We're gonna learn in a moment that the students in your classrooms, that generation, the digital natives, are a big correlation between what you're writing and what they value. Different processes that you might use. Mm-hmm. Someone wrote, watching what others are doing. I'm not a math person. You know, it's my belief that most math is learned by communicating. It's a belief I've always had, and it's reinforced every day. So guess what? You will become a math person. All students think and process differently, information differently, and allowing them to explain their own thinking can clarify new situations. I love all your responses. Giving them a thoughtful and meaningful prompt. Absolutely. Instead of saying, turn to page 22 and do problems 1 through 20. And Sabrina, you're saying you like these strategies to really generate student participation and broader skills. The students, they want that. The students in your classrooms right now, they want to have that agency. They want to have that ownership of their work instead of me as a teacher giving them the thinking and them having to regurgitate. And I'm sorry to say the word regurgitate around lunchtime, my fault.
Agree.
Thank you.
I loved using it.
And the drop-off happens, my own kids, the drop-off happens when we kind of give them worksheets and packets to do. And that's I'm thinking about the engaging versus not engaging. And our goal today was to really discuss what engages the students. So as you're writing, I'm just wondering, I'm gonna go out on a limb again, if anyone wants to unmute and talk about something that they may have noticed that they wanted to share, that they felt was a great pedagogical practice that they can take back to their classroom. Feel free to unmute and mute and share, please, if you want.
I liked how it started off with a question or with an image that students could respond to with their own prior knowledge. And then it gives into that wonder. Like, I teach senior English and our first unit is on heroism. And we do Beowulf. And I could use that and, put up a picture of a superhero, and then, what does this make you think of? What do you wonder about this superhero? And then move that into the more traditional idea of heroism and have them take that information and use it to write a thesis statement about what is a hero. And then use that to break down what a thesis statement is, what you need to have for thesis statements. So I think that's a really good way to break that down. And as a pedagogical shift to 12th grade, I think that's really interesting.
Thanks, Victoria. I appreciate your thinking. That's
Hey,
not
Matt. Hey, Matt, this is Brett. I think she looked ahead at slides because that's a perfect segue as to where we're going.
Okay.
And give them a break here in a little bit, unless you want to hear from like one or two others. But the next topic, and we're going to give you guys a quick little stretch break, is cross-curricular. And Victoria, you nailed it. That we typically start a science lesson with a notice and wonder, but we did a math one today. You could do English. You could do any subject by seeing what the kids know, by noticing and wondering. So great response. Thanks.
Thank you.
I had a quick question. Is it okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I was looking at, I'm actually the person that wrote, I'm not a math person.
Okay, Natalie.
So what I actually was wondering is, how did you guys turn it into like anonymous raccoon and anonymous? So like a student that's afraid to answer will answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Google does that by default. It just randomly
cool.
assigns little critters like that. So yeah.
I think that's it's an outside way to get kids to be involved. So thank
Sure.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Natalie, you're right. The name thing could be very daunting if they see your name up there, but I agree completely. It's an equity issue. It's an equity strategy. Thank you. Brett, you can what we'll do, Brett, you can take over like the break and stuff. I'm gonna run and plug in my computer real quick.
That sounds good. All right. Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break. We are going to end right at noon or as close as we can to that to honor the time today. But some of you are already thinking this way. We teach different things, different subjects. Some of you teach multiple subjects. What are some cross-curricular activities? So as you guys get up and refill your coffee or take a, like we call it, a bio break, right? Add your ideas to the back channel. There's a spot for there to add your input, or you can continue to use the chat window. But how might that prompt, that engage of noticing and wondering, and it doesn't have to be, necessarily ring-tailed lemurs, but that strategy where you get them thinking, noticing and wondering, how could you incorporate that into other subject areas? Okay, so I'll start an online timer, but we'll come back and resume at about 11:38. So enjoy your break. Thank you, everyone.
Lisa, I have a question, or Lisa or Brett. Are the videos going to be on the Padlet?
They will, yes.
What videos?
I assume you mean, Matt, when the recorded sessions, once they're uploaded, they will be shared on the Padlet. Is that what you're referring to, Matt?
Yes, I had some people asking, some administrators from the districts. Yeah, so that because there's some, if some people can go back and look at maybe what they missed, they can still get credit for it. Yes.
Is the Padlet accessible even outside of the Zoom session, or?
Yes. So you're gonna love Padlet, David. If you've never used it, you're gonna love it. You're gonna want your kids to use it probably. It's picture us giving you all the paper without giving you papers. Picture us giving you like all the handouts without giving you handouts. And it's gonna be the way Lisa actually created a wonderful Padlet where she had module 1 as one column, module 2, 3, 4, 5. And so everything that we can give you will be in those modules. But they might not be in there today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, because we're gonna put different things as the time goes on. And you will make sure that once you get the Padlet, you have access to that Padlet because you signed in.
Where do you get the Padlet?
Yeah, Lisa, let's go ahead and post it now. I don't think it'll hurt to do that.
Yeah, during the break, you can talk about it because I'm gonna.
Lisa, are you there? Did you take a break? Lisa Ann?
I'm here. I'm working on it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about the back channel.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, I keep, and out of 300, sometimes I think I keep deleting it. I go back and click on the link and get it back on there again. So on Chrome, and I'm looking at it, and it's very small. Am I supposed to, I can't enlarge it to write on it, or what's?
You can. What type of device are you using, Sherry?
I have a Dell.
A Dell. So I believe it is, there's a zoom function that should be, I'm trying to think how to do that. Let me go to mine so I can help you out with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even, I'm using our,
yeah, if you hit control plus, control plus, and it should zoom in your view. Otherwise, on the Google, is that good?
Okay. Made it a little bit larger. Yes, it's getting a little larger now.
There we go.
Okay, so, okay. Am I supposed to save this and send it to you, or is this something we're using as, now I can read it. So we've been discussing this. Is this something that, go ahead.
This is just something we're collaborating around. It automatically saves to Google, and we're just using it as a back channel, so you don't have to worry about sending it in or anything. But if you're using like a Google Classroom, students can have their own Google Doc and then turn it into you. But we're just kind of showing it as a way to get.
Okay, well, finally I can see it now, and I had to hit control plus.
There you go.
And then, you've got to be careful what you click on, because it will vanish. And luckily, okay. Oh, like I just got it. Let me see here. Yep, it's gone again. No, I keep going back to the professional learning resource. Anyway, I've got you this right here, and I'll. I wanted to minimize it, but I keep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Brett, did you go over Jamboard?
Did not, Lisa, because we were afraid about the volume issue, because I had a little bit of trouble with module 1. So I could share screen and show them that, but we just didn't.
I would show them just because I think there were a lot of questions earlier. It'd be a great way to show everybody how they can check for understanding and have their kids post-it notes and stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah, maybe I'll do that right when we come back from break, and then I'll have them share cross-curricular ideas. Looks like our time's about up. Lisa, I don't have the Jamboard, or I can find it here. I say I don't have the Jamboard open, but I'll find it.
I can send you the link. Hold on.
I got it now. Thanks anyway.
For those of you that are here, it's funny, I was really nervous with the amount of people that were here, but I'm sure Brett and Lisa are going to agree that I'm actually having a lot of fun with this today, the way you guys are all sharing. This is actually so exciting, this many people and hearing all your responses. It's really neat. David, you teach math in Tracy? Oh, you teach 9 to 12.
Yes.
So what's your is algebra? Is that your focus? Or?
This upcoming year, I'll have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Pre-Calculus.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's a good, yeah.
A wide stretch.
Yeah, it is.
It was nice fourth quarter because it was a little bit unfair having had the opportunity to build relationships with all the students, but pre-cal, there was maybe a handful that would come to Zoom lessons with me, but they were very kind and patient with me, helping me figure out how to utilize Zoom and being very open, telling me that they couldn't hear me when they couldn't hear me and all of that. So I do think that most students are going to be understanding with teachers as we're trying to figure this out as well.
That's really optimistic. Can I just say, based on your hat, Mookie's actually working out really well for us. Just sorry about that. And when I say us, I'm from Los Angeles. So yeah, he's a great addition to our team. So thanks for giving him to us.
I'm very impressed that you're willing to admit in front of so many people that you're a Dodgers fan.
Okay, touche. Touche.
We've had some interesting conversations there.
Guess what, David? I'm safe. No one can throw any eggs at me right now.
Virtual eggs being tossed at you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this is Brett. Welcome back. Hope you had a nice break. I want to show real quick a tool, and again, not to overwhelm you. If you're not ready for this and don't care about Jamboard, you get another 2 minutes to tune out during this break. But I'm going to share my screen. I put it in the chat window, and it is a Google extension. And it was designed as an app to work with a Jamboard. It's an actual Google product developed for educators. It's an interactive flat screen. But what we like about it is it's a user-friendly just extension from Google. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how we anticipate using it today, but went away from it because of the sheer volume, and we were leery of having 3 people on a Jamboard at one time. So hopefully you can see this. This is what a Jamboard looks like. I've got 50 different pages here, right? Not 50, but like 10. And what we're going to do for, if you guys remember our very beginning activity where if you could travel through time period, what would you want to explore and why? So with students, you want them to collaborate and interact around something. They just simply click on this. They pick the color of their sticky note. They type their response. They save it. It goes on the Jamboard at that point, and then they can drag it to wherever they want. You can add in Google Images like I did here. There's an annotate tool where if you want to highlight things, so this could be used synchronously or asynchronously. You can say, hey, you can type it in. Right? So just kind of a fun little way for brainstorming and for collaborating around a document. So that's the back channel.
Also, as we're moving to the next slide, what we're doing, there was a few questions in the chat regarding students in SDC classes or receiving special services in mathematics or other areas. My experience, I've been teaching this constructivist way for about 25, 26 years, and I've had many classes. The students that receive services or this type of teaching actually speaks to those students because of many factors, such as allowing students to think in that agency. And we don't have time to really go deep into that, but I want you to consider that this type of teaching, really like collaboration, allowing the students to think is actually beneficial for a lot of different subgroups, and I want you to think about that. Thank you.
Okay, so again, welcome back from your break. hope you had some good ideas and some opportunities to think about some cross-curricular. Either Lisa or Matt, if you have that back channel open or in the chat, can you just pick a couple that you guys want to share? And just like always, if you guys are feeling compelled to share, you can unmute yourselves as well. But let's have Matt and Lisa kind of look through the list and share a couple first, and then we'll have open mic for other people for cross-curricular applications to the activity that we've done so far.
Matt, go ahead.
I'm calling up the document right now. If you can start us off, maybe just for
check the
one. I'm just calling it up real quick. Okay.
And maybe some of you that had ideas, if you could repost in chat too, because we had a lot more people chime in here. Repost your cross-curricular ideas for using like a Notice and Wonder.
Okay. I'm seeing Brett use this to discuss a historical setting or incident.
Nice.
Use this to begin a unit, reflect on a common question that might be a big idea question, an ELA, developing evidence for students to cite.
This is a separate topic, but I know a lot of you are using Teams, and Jamboard would work just like any other document. You just post a link in there. It's not going to be integrated within Teams, but they would have to go outside of Teams and just click on that link, collaborate around the Jamboard during your Teams. So that's the way it would work. Mm-hmm. It's not a Microsoft product per se, but it should work.
Someone is saying, take the number talk picture or question prompt and turn it into a story. So that's a great ELA activity, is taking that lemur picture and turn it into a story. Thank you. I'm wondering about PE or visual and performing arts or world language as well.
Ooh, I like this one. Take science topic and write about how it affects us socially. That's a good one, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm. So we're also looking in the chat. Monique, I don't know if Brett answered this, but did you, in Teams, there actually is a whiteboard, a built-in whiteboard, and it's closer to a Jamboard than the Zoom one.
Okay, Matt, I'm looking at the clock, and I think in the interest of time, I'll go ahead and move forward. Unless anyone's feeling compelled to share real quick, I don't want to.
Great ideas.
Shut you off since I said you have the opportunity. You may want to share their thoughts real quick.
Can I just say, Brett, Hina actually said chemistry, and I'm really interested in this. Take a picture of the drawings of different kinds of particles like molecules and atoms and ions. So they're looking at that whole visual thing. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so I'm predominantly a science educator. I'm a STEM coordinator at San Joaquin County Office of Education. Before that, I taught biology, I taught medical terminology, middle school and high school science. But with the launch of our new standards back in 2013, we focus a lot on phenomena. And phenomena in science are things that you can observe either in the natural world or man-made world and just cause a sense of wonder. They generate these questions. And we showcase that today with a little math activity, but this is just a quick little idea of how you would launch this lesson in a science activity. There's wonderful standards about adaptations for animals. This one is describe the characteristics that the ring-tailed lemur would have that are unique for their environment. And then depending on the grade level, you would launch into the lesson. And this is the nice thing about NGSS is that it articulates from grade span to grade span. So K2, our students would be looking at all organisms have external parts that they use to perform daily functions. Going up to the grades 3 through 5, it's a little more abstract, a little more sophisticated. Organisms have both internal and external macroscopic structures that allow for growth, survival, reproduction. So as you go up this continuum, you see how students And working together as a site, you can say, hey, I introduced this activity here, but I'm going to go more in depth as I build sophistication all the way up to high school, where it deals with system of cells and organisms, essential functions for life. So we get into genetics and the traits and how they're adapted to perform certain functions. So that's how it would work within a science lesson. Claim evidence and reasoning has been a game changer for a lot of educators. In science, we like to use it by saying, okay, don't just believe what you hear or what I say. It's like, how do you know what you know? This is a nice little graphic that was published a few years ago at Edutopia. This will be on the Padlet as well. It's got some great resources there. Claim evidence and reasoning can be used in multiple subjects, but in science, we use it as the claim as what you know. The evidence is how do you know that? So you might send students out to do an asynchronous activity. It could be sites that you already predetermined that are good, that they go explore and they find things that back up the claim that they're making. Like it might be something like the ring-tailed lemur is well suited for a Madagascar eucalyptus forest, just kind of shooting from the cuff and speaking that. But then they would go and do research and find out how they know that. When you add the reasoning with the claim and evidence, that is the prompt there you see in orange is, why does your evidence support your claim? When all three of those come together, that is an explanation that is grounded in evidence and students can back it up. And the standard that we use in science is argument from evidence, and it fits very well with claim evidence and reasoning. So I just want to talk real quickly about that and how we would approach it a little bit differently in science, but it's engaging students with the same, what do you notice and wonder? A nice way to do this is what's called a hyperdoc. Some of you are probably familiar with hyperdocs. Hyperdoc really, and hyperdoc.org is going to be on the Padlet, is earmarked, so it's interactive. So this is just like a Google Doc. You can use Google Slides or PowerPoint or whatever your Microsoft product that you're using. But the things that you want them to explore, videos, links, podcasts, are linked within that document. So they have everything they need to interact with it. There are so many examples and templates on Padlet, or not, I'm sorry, Padlet, hyperdocs.co that are free for you to use. So I encourage you to check that out and see how you can use hyperdocs in your activities as well. And Matt, this is going to go back to you for transferable skills.
Did you know that regardless, we have about 9 minutes, so I want to make sure. Did you know, regardless of this pandemic, regardless of this, think back to in 2019, 53% of our recent college graduates are underemployed. And this has, like I said, it has nothing to do with our current situation. And I'm thinking about, I got this information from Forbes magazine every year. They say, you know, the CEOs of major companies such as, think about Nike, Microsoft, just any major company is they're not satisfied with the prospective employees that they're getting to their at their interviews. They say that they don't see these skills, these soft skills, as we call them, verbal communication, teamwork. They don't see this. And I'm just going to give you something scary that I read, I think about a year ago. It said the companies would rather hire high school graduates that have these skills versus college graduates that don't. So that speaks a lot to these. So let's just talk about these transferable skills. These are all compiled by the big CEOs of the different companies, and Forbes magazine puts this out every year. I want you to think about these skills, and I want you to think about to what extent did the activity that we were facilitating support these skills. And these skills, in my opinion, are more important than the hard skills like the math, the science, because companies can teach that, but companies cannot teach this. So what did you notice today that might have been supported? Someone can chat or unmute.
I can say that I noticed that as things weren't working, people were able to adapt. So we can adapt and move on even though things aren't going in our favor.
Thank you.
I'm new to all of this, so I'm picking up all these strategies.
Leanne, resilience is huge, and that's why it's number one. To what extent can you fail, but then build off that failure, right? Instead of just failing and just shutting down. Thank you. Any other thoughts besides Leanne's? And I like the muting is working well with us. Any other transferable skills that might have emerged from this?
Emotional intelligence.
How?
Well, I think it's the ability to understand that we are all educators and put ourselves in each other's shoes. Having empathy, and we know that we're all trying and we want to do a really nice job. And so empathy and having that compassion for each other as educators was absolutely very much, open. And everyone was chatting and talking about their concerns, and no one was judged here for not knowing something. So that was definitely shown here at this meeting, and that respect, it's very much needed at this point. We have to learn to put ourselves in everyone's shoes. Doesn't matter whether you're a principal or a superintendent or a teacher, any staff members. So I think we all have to come together, and this is the time to do it.
That's a wonderful statement, and thank you for having empathy for Brett, Lisa, and I today.
Yeah, I'd like to say, oh yeah, we planned it that way, but you do have to roll with it. Yeah, we're modeling on the fly how you adapt. So thank you so much for those comments.
Yeah, that social emotional learning. Did anyone see teamwork, which is huge, the collaboration? I noticed that during huge. We did the best we could with teamwork and collaboration. We told you, and problem solving and critical thinking as well. So these, to what extent, I believe the biggest gift I can give a student that's going through our K through 12 system in America are these skills. That's my belief. So they can thrive in this 21st century. We don't know what job they're going to be doing. We all heard that before, but we do know that these skills will benefit them. So because of time, I'm going to move to the next slide. We're very close to our time. Did you want to share something with this, Brett, or just
I'll speak to this. A lot of you are probably familiar with the 5E learning cycle, but whatever lesson plan format you use, I just wanted to kind of recap on what we did today, and you guys did a nice job of thinking about cross-curricular things. But like Matt said, and I'm a firm believer in that too, that really, I'll quote a colleague of mine, his name is Dean Medic. They asked him, I was privy to someone asking him, what do you teach? And instead of saying math, he says, I teach students. And then he said, math is my vehicle in which to reach my students. But I learned that, after a couple of years of almost getting burned out in education, that it's all about the relationships and building that rapport with students. But anyway, I just wanted to add that real quick. So with the 5E, we engage with a notice and wonder up on the top left-hand part. And it could be any image. It could be a quick little video clip. It can be numerous ways that you can engage students. And that's the first of the 5E. And then we had you guys do some exploration, and that's where you solved it and showed us your thinking and come up with multiple ways to solve the number of stripes on all 5. And then we went into a little bit of explanation where you guys came back and talked about your Google Slides or just chatted how you did your solving the problem. And the biggest thing with the explain, it's not always the teacher explaining. How do we know what our students know if we don't let them explain? Well, that's what's really nice about the noticing and wondering, because someone said there's prior knowledge built into it when they notice and wonder the questions they have. And sometimes, like I think Matt said, they'll nail the question that you wanted to explore anyway, and it came from student. So what better student-centered way to do that than to elicit the questions from them? The evaluation part should happen throughout, and hopefully we modeled some of those informal ways you can assess with the chat, with the Google Doc back channel, with Jamboard, but how do we assess students throughout? Not always formally, it's too late at the end, right? We can change things on the fly and see misconceptions, and it's really important that we evaluate throughout. And then extending it, Matt gave some ideas too, and you guys have been given ideas of how you could extend it from there. So that's just a quick little walkthrough of what we did today with the 5E.
All right. We're cutting it close, but we're going to make that 12 o'clock time. So I just want you to probably just think to ourselves, let's think to ourselves how we, the engagement, the meaningful instruction in your sharing, your chat, what was in your, I've received a lot of thoughts, and I just wanted to say that engagement is everything here. And I believe that the collaboration, that feedback, and just that agency and producing your own learning is what creates that engagement. And I believe that that's where we are with this digital learning. And I really appreciate Brett, Lisa, and I really appreciate your deep insight today, your patience. I'm speaking for myself. I had a blast today. I had fun. And I think Lisa and Brett did too. So I really want to thank you for today.
All right, just to echo what Matt said, stay with us for just a couple more minutes. We've got a link to share with you for a quick survey, just a 3-question survey. We welcome all feedback. We're going to offer this 5 more times. And as Matt mentioned, there's content specific. If your district is interested, just have them contact any of the names you see up here. If you want some more specific on language and literacy, there's Karen's email. Matt's director, his name is Satinder Singh. There's her email as well. These will be on the Padlet, and Lisa put the Padlet up there one more time again for them so they can see that. If you, you can take a picture of this as well. Kirk Brown is the director of STEM programs. So again, if you're looking for content specific, or there's something else that you don't see here that meets your needs, you can contact Ed Services. And Ed Services number is right there, and we will definitely get you in the right place.
Brett, before you hop off, I think everyone should read Cynthia Boyling's chat. I believe everyone should read Cynthia Boyling's from Manteca Unified, what she said. It's a great segue to end this. Can anyone, if anyone just wants to, I think it's just a few up, it's Cynthia. I read some comments recently from a teacher complaining that, not being face-to-face classroom, that students were missing out. And I thought we are in front of them. We have 3 months of experience now. This is our time to shine and embrace this as a new and fun. It's what we make of it. So that's, wow. Thank you.
Lisa, do you have the survey link by chance? Or I can grab it too and put it in the chat window.
Just a second.
Thanks. Any closing thoughts, guys? Thank you so much for staying with us. It's just a minute after, but we'll stay on for a couple more minutes. Have any other questions or things we can help you out with? The slide that's up now, just a quick little plug for our own Steve Callahan. We have a free tech summit. You can learn a lot more about some of the tech tools we talked about today. It's September 12th from 9:30 to 12:30. Free registration, and the website is there. It's, if you just Google SJCOE Tech Summit, it'll take you right to it, and you can register for that as well.
So you guys, we will be sharing the list of everybody who attended with your districts so that you should be getting credit for it today. So don't worry about anything additional that needs to happen. We'll share the link of the attendees with your district.
So does that mean, like, I wasn't able to get in until very late, but I don't know how that works.
They got an email today during this that said that we've been having technical difficulties in explaining what's going on.
Okay.
So we'll work with your district.
Okay. And is the survey, is that the forms link posted?
Yes, that was, I did have it. It was in here somewhere. I can post it again.
And Tandy, it's offered 8:30 on Wednesday, and again at 1 o'clock too, if you want to tune back in and get the part that you missed. And it will be recorded. It is being recorded, and we can post that too. So.
In the module 1 that I attended this morning, they had us put our name as our name and then the grade levels that we taught. They didn't have anything about our district. Is there a way for the county office of ed to figure out what teacher goes to what district? Or
Well, like I'm looking at yours right now, David, and I see it says David Howe. It says TUSD 9 to 12. So the report that's generated will have that on there, and that gets sent to your district. So it's a record of you being here. with your district. Does that make sense, or am I not answering your question?
Well, that makes sense for this module, but in module 1, they didn't ask for our district. They just asked for our name and our grade level.
I gotcha. Was it just your first name?
I think I did David H. And then 9 through 12.
It'll have your email. Are you logged in with your TUSD email?
I actually went to go sign me up and then clicked on the link from there. For some reason, I didn't receive an email confirmation after I signed up through the go sign me up.
Who's the district person that's verifying that? Because I'd be happy. I saw you on there. I'd be happy to verify if we need more of it.
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Just let me know. You have my email, right, David? B States?
It would be Melissa Beatty.
No, I think it's Melissa Beatty.
I think it's Melissa Beatty.
Melissa Beatty.
Yeah.
David, I'll put it in the chat window. It's B States at SJCOE. .net.
He put it on the chat also.
Oh, let me open up that chat.
David, I'm talking to Melissa as we speak. It's funny. I talked to her on the phone. They're aware of all this, and they're going to be very careful in making sure that you get this. Hey, Brett, was the Padlet given out?
Yes, Lisa's shaking her head.
So I want to share with everybody that the videos will be on the Padlet. You'll be able to see the videos. I'm glad you can share our session with others. Yeah. Thank you, Tila. Brett, do we have to get off for the other sessions to get on, or no?
There's a break now. The next one doesn't start till 1. We have an hour break. So
how do we go to the next session from here? Do we stay here?
It'll be a separate link. You'll actually sign off here, and it'll be a separate link. Did you not have did someone share a schedule with you, or how'd you know about this session today?
Well, I knew about it because I went to my mail and I clicked on a link in my mail, but I was wondering, since I'm at this Zoom meeting, can I just enter a Zoom number for the next meeting?
You can, but you have to go back to that schedule and look. It'll be a different meeting ID for that one.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the meeting ID. I just wanted to know if I need to go back to my district mail or if I can put it in somewhere on this window.
I don't think so. I think once I end this, Lisa's shaking her head. Once I end this meeting, you'll have to log in and click on it for the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we're okay to leave?
Yes.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much.
Hey, Brett.
Yeah.
Because it took me a while, I can't save the whole chat.
Oh, I did. I saved it.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect.
I might do it one more time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, David. Bye. Lisa, I still can't figure out why did the breakouts work for module 1 but not for us? I kept trying. The only way I could do it is manually assigning people. And I know they did it that way. There's 50 breakout rooms, open the rooms, and I clicked on open rooms and it just.
And it should have gone, honestly, I think we've kind of overwhelmed our system, and I think people were constantly, like me, trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it took Fred, I think Fred finally got in at like 11. I think he finally told me he got in at like, it was like 11:40 maybe.
Yeah.
So like people were still trying to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have a bigger. a bigger Zoom account?
Yeah, I think Ed Babacan knows now, and he wasn't notified before, but maybe there's a way to up it a little bit. But we're going to meet at 2:30 today. I need to send out a calendar invite and just let people know.
Okay.
Kirk says there's a way within Zoom to require registration. So he's thinking that's a workaround too, but I don't know how to do that. So I'll have to experiment and see.
Well, and that's Jane's call.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, folks, those of you still on, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. So unless you have other questions, hope to see you at a future module. Well, thanks, Lisa, for sticking with us and getting there. You were very helpful once you got in. I needed it. I was trying to navigate multiple things here. So.
Okay, and we'll chat maybe. I have a call at 2, but if you want to talk a little before, I wouldn't mind.
I think we should. I think you and Matt and I can talk about workarounds and see. Talk about. I mean, timing wise, it worked out pretty well. I think we're good there, but just some other things we can improve upon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Thank you.